Matt Gaetz Hackgate. No, I'm not Dr. Seuss, but there is some new reporting about files concerning Matt Gaetz, legal files, including sworn testimony and statements from at least 2 people who were underage women who are prepared to testify against Matt Gaetz. Their statements, their depositions have already been apparently hacked. The law firm reports that was holding those documents, and they're damning and damaging to Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz, Hackgate, only on Legal AF. This YouTube channel brought to you right now by Michael Popok, who's sitting here at the intersection. What am I talking about? New York Times and Associated Press, both reporting that the 2 now young women, then girls, who have testified successfully against Matt Gaetz in the House Ethics Committee, represented by Joe Leopard, had their files in the form of deposition, sworn statements under oath, hacked because the law firm involved in a lawsuit about, there was a breakout lawsuit among the wingmen of Matt Gaetz, where one accused the other of defamation, and in order to prove that he didn't defame the guy, he had to put in this witness statements and witness testimony against Matt Gaetz. There is a lawsuit that I talked about at length on Legal AF brought by Chris Dorworth, a well-known political lobbyist in Florida. He was also a participant, according to the allegations, in some of these issues related to young girls. Joel Greenberg, who was the wingman for Matt Gaetz, the Seminole County tax assessor, he apparently, according to allegations, worked as the pimp to get young girls to show up at parties with drugs, and that's where Matt Gaetz, according to these women, had sex with them. No, raped them because they were underage. This all came out in a lawsuit brought by Chris Dorworth, of all people, who sued Joel Greenberg, the Matt Gaetz wingman serving 11 years in prison for sex trafficking, for the very allegations that are now coming up against Matt Gaetz. They had a lawsuit, if you can believe it. Dorworth sued Greenberg for defamation, claiming I wasn't at the house and my house wasn't used for these sexual trafficking with women and the rest. And in order to defend himself in that case, Joel Greenberg, the wingman for Matt Gaetz, had to get witness statements, including from the 2 women who have now testified against Matt Gaetz. That got filed with the court, but under seal. But the hacker broke the seal, got into the documents on the law firm's server, and now has them. So they're out there. Now, look, on Wednesday, later today, the House Ethics Committee, who's under a tremendous amount of pressure of their own making, about whether to release the report that is finished, and obviously a terrible, terrible indictment, if you will, of Matt Gaetz, because if it absolved him of everything, it would have been released already. So they're going to vote apparently tomorrow whether to voluntarily release it. The Senate Republicans many of them are demanding it, especially on the Judiciary Committee, before they'll confirm Matt Gaetz. But we're going to have to wait to see what the vote is. Now, there is a precedent. You wouldn't think so from listening to the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, but there is precedent for releasing the ethics report even after a House member leaves the House. You can still issue the report, especially when it's of great public concern like now. The Senate can demand the report, can try to subpoena the report from the other chamber of the Congress and get it that way. Somebody, I guess, could hack it, but it's out there. We know that Matt Gaetz, conspiring, if you will, with Donald Trump, tried to avoid the report being published and resigned in the face of the report. We also know that the 2, at least young women who testified to the House committee are prepared to testify against Matt Gaetz. Their lawyer says so. They're prepared to testify at the Senate confirmation hearing. Should we have one, and we need to have one. They will likely, at the rate they're going, I would not be surprised if these 2 courageous women testify, if you will, on some talk show or be interviewed on some sort of network. I invite Joe Leopard to make Legal AF the home for such an interview. You know it will be handled with dignity and with grace and with respect. So there's an invitation right here, Legal AF, to you, Mr. Leopard. In the meantime, if if Gaetz and Trump thought they were going to bury the report, they can't bury the people. I mean, not yet anyway. And so they want to be heard from. And the Republicans, there's at least 12 that are starting to, I say, I use this phrase, start to stare at their shoelaces. They don't want to have to deal with Matt Gaetz. Some have gone so far as to say under no circumstances will they support Matt Gaetz, and those are Republicans. And I don't think this Gaetz hackgate is going to help matters. I mean, Maggie Haberman of the New York Times already reports on Tuesday night that even though Trump is acting tough and talking tough in public about supporting Matt Gaetz and making phone calls with or without Matt Gaetz directly to senators and twisting arms and trying to intimidate people and all of that. He has told people privately, according to Maggie Haberman's reporting, that he knows that the Gaetz nomination is troubled and there's only a less than 50-50 chance of it actually going forward. I put up other hot takes about who would be the next candidate if it's not Matt Gaetz. It's either, I think, Todd Blanche, who's already been nominated for the deputy attorney general and will get confirmed, or Donald Trump pulls another joker out of the pack and picks Aileen Cannon, the judge he likes so much love kisses between Aileen Cannon and Donald Trump. It makes your head hurt and your heart hurt. But he could nominate her as well. And, you'll hear, maybe that was his plan all along, a big major troll knowing Gaetz couldn't make it. But then anybody that followed Gaetz would certainly be confirmed because it's not Gaetz. I mean, don't put it past Donald Trump to think in those kind of terms. But the reporting here now is that at least one person has broken into the server in the lawsuit of Dorworth versus Greenberg by that law firm and downloaded all 24 files, including the unredacted witness testimony. I don't think these are people that are going to try to hold this information hostage. I don't know where WikiLeaks is these days, but certainly the public would like to see this information, and the public has a need to know it, as does the Senate Judiciary Committee. No pressure on Alton Beasley. I'm not justifying or condoning somebody breaking in to a law firm's servers, but it did happen. So we'll continue we have to follow it. What are we going to do? You think I want to talk about Matt Gaetz every 20 minutes? But I have an obligation to the Legal AF community to follow this thing through dogged investigation, analysis, right here that you've come to expect on Legal AF and this particular channel. That's why. And until his candidacy is dead and buried, you couldn't even identify it with dental records, I'm not going to stop. And this is information you need to know as you contact your senators, as you take to the streets and challenge these fringe, outside the norm, obscenely unqualified cabinet picks of Donald Trump. I'm Michael Popok. You're here. Take a moment, bing, hit the subscribe button and help us grow. We're trying to get to 500,000 subscribers by the New Year's. We'll get there with your help. We're well on our way with 330,000 in just 2 months as it is. So until my next hot take here on the Legal AF YouTube channel or on Midas Touch with all things Legal AF and the podcast, I'm Michael Popok, and I am reporting. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.